What is a backpack gun? It's a gun that you keep in a backpack. Why would you use a backpack gun? For shooting things that might need to be shot when you're wearing a backpack. Anyway, here's a video on the Ruger Charger. It's a 1022 that can go in a backpack as long as you are wearing a backpack that's big enough to accommodate it volume-wise, because that's how Euclidean physics works. What is up, guys? My name is John with PewPewTactical.com, your definitive source for gun reviews, gear guides, and all things that wind up dipping into physics, and then I just wind up talking about weird physics concepts in a gun review. Let me know if you like that. I like it. I like you. First things first, I have some disclaimers to kind of do right up front because this is going to be another one of those videos where I'm going to try my best to keep my personal biases about a certain thing completely separate from what should be an objective review of a firearm that hopefully is going to help you glean some facts and decide if this gun is right for you. I consider myself to be a reasonably experienced outdoorsman, which perhaps is not something that some of you are expecting somebody wearing these glasses to say, but nevertheless, I grew up in a small town right at the base of a pretty large mountain range in Southern California, and I've spent pretty much my entire life traversing said mountains. I'm completely comfortable with hiking, living out of a bag for days, sometimes weeks at a time, sleeping in the dirt, all that good stuff. However, I do not hunt. Even on longer treks, I've never found the need to take the life of another living thing in order to keep myself fed. I've always done just fine with prepackaged food. And even in situations where I'm out there for a really long time and I might want to be armed, 22LR is probably not the cartridge I want to take with me. And before anybody in the comment section pops off, no, you don't shoot snakes. What is wrong with you? You just kind of throw rocks in their general direction, and even a Pacific Diamondback that is sunning itself while stretched out across a trail is eventually gonna get sick of that shit and be like, nah, I'm out. All that being said, I do recognize that there are folks that do venture into the wilderness with a varmint gun, either for pest control reasons or to take small game, and that's all fine and valid, even if that is not my particular jam. Anywho, if you've got a burning need to clap squirrels with a minuscule gun that's deployable at a moment's notice, Ruger's 1022 Charger family might be right up your alley. Coming in at just 17 inches overall, the minuscule Charger is full of just enough features to make it worth considering over other quote-unquote survival rifles on the market, with the added benefit of not needing to be broken down in order to be comfortably carried in a ruck or day pack. The 8-inch barrel features 1 to 2 by 28 threads, to which we've mounted a Silencer Central Banish 22. And while I myself am not really a 22 guy, I will say that if you've never fired a suppressed 22, they're essentially whisper quiet. And that's a novel enough experience to make even my curmudgeonly self grin like an idiot. The Charger's also got a built-in bipod lug right up at the front, which can be used to attach the included UTG Harris-style bipod knockoff, although I kind of question the utility or necessity of having a bipod on a 22LR backpack gun. Maybe you're using it to take resting shots from prone, maybe not, but I will say that obviously the addition of accessories to the gun is going to make quickly drawing it from a pack just a tiny bit trickier, and we wouldn't want you to let that 5-point trophy groundhog get away now, would we? We've got a Primary Arms SLX MD25 red dot sight mounted up on the Charger's included Picatinny rail, giving us a 2 MOA dot that feels pretty well suited for the platform, even if perhaps the SLX housing itself might be a bit chunky comparatively. In the future, or if you were actually doing bag deployment stuff with the Charger, it'd probably make more sense to go with something a bit more on the minuscule side. Regardless, you're gonna want to get some kind of optic configuration figured out, as obviously the Charger doesn't actually come with any sort of iron sights. It's just that high speed. We've gone ahead and added a 25 round magazine, upgraded BX25 trigger, and tandem cross extended magazine release. But the more basic model comes with a 15 round mag and obviously stock mag release and trigger pack, and they work just fine. The Charger's pistol grip is AR-15 compatible, which means that if you've got some super specific preferences with regards to what exact grip you need on your 22, you'll be able to swap them with no issue. Although we found the stock pistol grip to be just fine. Again, you're not really going to be doing anything super fancy with this gun, despite the fact that I spent most of my time doing silly range drills with it. Interestingly, there's a bit of Picatinny space that runs vertically at the rear of the receiver, which we've mounted an SB Tactical side-folding pistol brace to. The side-folding brace is quite nice, pretty comfy, and fits snugly in a medium-sized bag, while also giving you the ability to add a third point of contact when you need the utmost precision in eliminating small mammals with extreme prejudice or whatever. Out at the range, we ran a couple hundred rounds through the Charger, and while it mostly worked okay, we did run into a few snags. We had a few random jams, which might just come with the territory when you're running a suppressed 22, as all of that powder is being thrown right back into your chamber, but that's nothing really game-breaking. However, the Tandem Cross extended mag release, while nice and functional initially, suddenly went missing when the pin that holds it in place decided to eject itself from the gun without our say. Unfortunately, finding a small silver pin in the mud and grass of Texas Shooting Academy proved to be a little too challenging, and we finished our range time with the mag release nub being the only way to drop your magazine. Not really sure what the issue is here, or why exactly that piece is loose enough to free fall out of the gun after a relatively straightforward installation on our end, but keep that in mind if you wind up going down a similar route. You may want to Loctite that bad boy down. Also, this might be kind of nitpicky and didn't impact function as far as we could really tell, but whatever spray coating Ruger used in the factory has wound up being messily oversprayed inside the magazine well and receiver area. It's kind of unclear if this area was intended to be coated and was half finished, or intended to be raw and was hastily sprayed, but even still, it's one of those small things that makes you wonder about what other non-visible corners may have been cut. That aside, the Charger ran pretty well for the duration of our time with it, and the aftermarket trigger pack, combined with the fact that 22 has literally no recoil whatsoever, means you can really dump those magazines quickly to the dulcet tones of the tiniest steel pings and dings. The Charger is also absurdly easy to manage, even with the brace folded, and if for whatever reason you need to deploy it but don't have time to flip the brace out, you should still be able to land hits on whatever you're shooting at with reasonable ease. So where does all of that leave us? As I mentioned, while it's not something I'd ever really see myself owning for what I do when venturing into the outdoors, that doesn't mean it's not valid for some use case scenarios. And if you're dead set on having something minuscule you can toss in a ruck just in case you need to be able to blap a dove while getting your throw on, it'd be hard to find something this small, lightweight, and inexpensive that's comparable. Coming in at just $380 for the base model, it's also not going to kill your wallet if you want something just to play around with. Although obviously, the accessories and suppressor can easily push that above $1,000 if you go that route. All told, I don't hate it, and I had a reasonable amount of fun with the Ruger Charger at the range, even if it had a few weird problems that I suppose I'm willing to overlook for the price. Alright guys, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and hit the like button, and send it to a friend, and hit the bell button, and just talk in the comments below. You can tell me how wrong I am for not singing the praise of the concept of a 22 LR backpack survival rifle. What happens if you fall in a ravine and you're out of food because you didn't bring any and you're only out for a day and now you have to shoot lizards? What happens then, John? Huh? You ever think of that? You ever had to eat lizards? Buy a shirt so I don't have to eat lizards. Love you, bye.